Good morning. Welcome to this press briefing. My name is Brittany Affolter-Kane, and I am the Executive Director of Michigan's University Research Corridor, an alliance of Michigan State University, the University of Michigan, and Wayne State University. I want to thank all of our panelists and attendees for joining us. We'll give attendees just another minute or two to join. While we're waiting, I want to give a couple pieces of housekeeping. During their prepared remarks, please feel free to place your questions in the Q&A feature. Please add your name and affiliation. That helps me. We will conclude today's event by answering questions from attendees, and you are permitted to record this, and we will also have a recording available on demand at the end. Okay. Good morning again, everyone who's joined us. Quick housekeeping, you'll probably notice the light that we are recording this session. You are also permitted to record it. We will make a link available at the end of this to everyone with a press release. As I noted a moment ago, I'm Brittany Affolter-Kane, and I am the Executive Director for Michigan's University Research Corridor. The mobility brief we're releasing today lays out how our state's research universities support Michigan's global position in the mobility industry and are critical to its continued transition to being a more competitive, safe, smart, sustainable, and equitable industry into the future through research and development, technology transfer, and preparing high demand talent. Let me start, however, with just a little bit about Michigan's University Research Corridor. We are a 15-year alliance of Michigan State University, the University of Michigan, and Wayne State University. Based on annual comparisons, the URC is one of the nation's top university innovation clusters and a leading asset for Michigan. Michigan is a top 10 state for academic R&D, and the URC universities account for 92% of that total, about $2.7 billion in R&D each year. The URC is also a talent hub for Michigan, with half of the 1.3 million URC alumni living and working here in Michigan. This mobility brief, which was conducted by public sector consultants, found that the URC prepares 46% of all graduates in Michigan who hold degrees in high demand by the mobility industry, includes degrees such as business, computer science, and engineering. The URC also leads the nation's top university innovation clusters, such as Silicon Valley in California, North Carolina's Research Triangle, Texas, and Massachusetts, in preparing the greatest number of graduates for careers in the mobility industry, 14,824 total. So the brief found that over the past 5 years, the URC universities conducted more than $542 million in mobility-related research, most of which was funded by the federal government and industry, both of which are highly competitive sources for funding that would have gone to another state but for the URC universities. This research is leading to innovations that make the transportation of people and goods safer, cleaner, more efficient, and more accessible. All three universities also have strong offices for technology transfer and business engagement, which ensure that the mobility industries have connections to university expertise, talent, innovation, and resources. Some of these resources, as well as key partnerships, are profiled in the report. Today, I am delighted to be joined by some of our university experts, all of whom have extensive experience in mobility R&D, who will share with you more details about some of our university's mobility assets and contributions to the industry. I also am joined by a couple of our key partners, Catherine Snorrison of the MEDC's Office of Future Mobility and Electrification, and Glenn Stevens of MICHauto. Glenn is going to be our first speaker, and he's going to help make the connection between what the URC universities are doing and industry. Glenn?
Thank you, Brittany. Appreciate the opportunity to be with everybody today. We value the URC partnership as much as we do for anybody around the state, and we have a lot of partners. So thanks for all the support you give us too. There is frankly no single more important asset than our universities, and in particular today, the 3 R1s that we have represented here. As we look at this industry, one of the things we did is we took a step back in 2021 at MICHauto and said, what does this industry mean to the state of Michigan? It is a $304 billion economic contribution annually. That's our mobility industry. So what that does is that encompasses the auto industry, and it encompasses all the new forms of mobility through drones, including our cargo and train systems too. So it's a very, very big, it's about 23% of our GDP. So as we look forward, we not only want to make sure that we solidify that position, but that we capitalize on the growth of what mobility can be. And when you look at all those ways that it can be monetized, and the potential R&D, the potential new products, we're talking about trillion-dollar industries here. So the other thing I wanted to mention is that when you look at the industry that's changing, the questions that come to our mind are, do we capitalize on the assets we have? And the assets we have are represented by a very unique cluster. The 3 R1s, 96 of the top 100 suppliers in North America are based here. There's 26 OEMs in Michigan now operating, from EV startups to the traditional players that we've always known. So it's a 120-year-old industry here that got us here. And if it's going to take us there, we need to use the industry we have as a platform for diversification and growth. Machine learning, AI, data, that's all part of the industry today. And that's part of the talent, the innovation, and the research that's being done at these 3 R1s. So we really feel strongly, our industry association and our partners around the state, that it is going to be a critical driver for us as we move forward and capitalize and keep the leadership position we have. So thank you for the ability to share a few comments today, and I look forward to the other. And I'm going to introduce my friend and colleague, Satish, to me, but I'm going to read his full title for you. It's Dr. Satish Utpa, who is a University Distinguished Professor of Electrical and Computer Engineering and the Interim Director of Mobility at Michigan State University. Go green.
Thank you, Glenn, for that kind introduction. It gives me great pleasure to participate in this forum where we get to talk about some of the cutting edge work that's going on in 3 great universities that constitute the University Research Corridor. Collectively and individually, as Britt pointed out, we play a major role in ensuring that one of the more important signature industries of Michigan continues to be at the forefront in meeting the mobility needs of the nation and indeed the world. Prospective students today have choices as to where they can go to earn degrees that are in highest demand, including degrees required in the mobility sector in such areas as artificial intelligence, battery technologies, computer science, motor vehicle design, among many others. And one of the more gratifying things we have seen is the enormous increase in the number of students wanting to come from outside, not just from the Midwest, but also from the coast, both East and West. At Michigan State University, we have transformed our 5,200-acre campus into a live, connected testbed to advance smart vehicle technology and better understand the human element. We have over 60 faculty members, besides others, who use this ecosystem to test technologies as well as validate business and social theories. The research activities we pursue can be viewed as having one or more of the 3 flavors. On the engineering side, we have faculty members, for example, working on some of the fastest and most accurate algorithms for 3-dimensional object detection and classification. Algorithms that fuse data from cameras, lidar, and radar seamlessly in real time. Algorithms that can predict pedestrian behavior and pedestrian movement trajectory at intersections. Systems for preventing and mitigating in-vehicle network intrusion, for example. Lightweighting the vehicle, besides a whole host of other technologies. We also have people who developed robust technologies that allow autonomous vehicles to operate in heavy rain, snow, and fog. Our faculty and students have built 2 autonomous vehicles that operate on our campus test bed, allowing us to test a whole host of technologies under realistic conditions in a variety of traffic conditions, such as dense vehicular and pedestrian traffic seen in urban settings, as well as sparser density environments such as those seen in rural settings, and most importantly, in a variety of weather conditions as well. Our engineering faculty are heavily engaged in looking at the civil, communications, and other infrastructure necessary to support the new mobility paradigm, developing sensors for capturing information from passing vehicles and determining the optimal placement of charging facilities for minimizing range anxieties. Our third group of faculty are active in the area of socio-mobility, where we are constantly seeking answers to questions as to how the new mobility paradigm can be used to address questions of equity and fairness. How can we use these new technologies to serve the underprivileged, people in declining health, people in underserved communities? What sort of ownership models would evolve in the years to come, and what legal and insurance frameworks would we need to make all this work? What sort of ethical and moral guideposts should we have in place as our software and artificial intelligence experts build control software? All important questions that are constantly being asked and answered on campus. Finally, we have also taken the step of automating our campus operations. We have fielded autonomous snow removers, autonomous lawnmowers, and autonomous custodial cleaning devices. This is an exciting time to be on any of the 3 campuses because we are moving the needle in so many ways. It's now my pleasure to introduce my comrade in arms in ensuring the global leadership of automotive industry, Dr. James Sayer, Director of the University of Michigan Transportation Research Institute. Jim, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Satish. So, mobility research here at the University of Michigan is very much an interdisciplinary effort. Much as Satish had mentioned, there's social and certainly engineering aspects that need to be taken into consideration. Whether it's one of our academic departments here in Ann Arbor, or Dearborn, or Flint, or whether it's through one of our institutes or entities like Transportation Research Institute, MCity, or our Urban Collaboratory, we're really trying to leverage the significant breadth of knowledge from a variety of disciplines across our campus, and many capabilities of our faculty, staff, and particularly our students. We're putting a really strong emphasis on providing interdisciplinary experiential learning opportunities for students. The truth of the matter is that some of the most significant problems we face in mobility as a society will not be addressed by a single discipline alone. And so tackling these large problems will require collaborating across many disciplines. This is the type of experience that we attempt to offer many of our students through research opportunities in the mobility space. And so we're really trying to prepare not just that they have the core competencies in their chosen disciplines, but they're also prepared to work in an interdisciplinary environment when they leave the academic arena and go into the workforce. So one example would be currently working with a dozen or so students this semester. They're all volunteering their time to work on an advanced mobility technology project, but specific to see how advanced technology might actually improve access to jobs, reducing job vacancies, and assisting some of our most impoverished communities in the state. Teams made up of a range of engineering and social disciplines. So envision a mechanical engineer working alongside a sociology student, for example. And of course, we continue to conduct research and provide education in the more traditional topics: crash biomechanics, transportation human factors, electrification of vehicles, carbon capture, and expanding the infrastructure, artificial intelligence, automotive engineering design, and then automation through our new Ford Robotics Institute. Our faculty are collaborating on a range of important mobility research, ranging from work with startups that have recently or may in the future locate in the state, as well as well-established multinational corporations that have long been established here. We're also working closely with local and state agencies to assist and understand and resolve, mobility challenges, and deploy and evaluate approaches to address these challenges where appropriate, technical or otherwise. Whether it's connected or automated vehicle technology deployments, installing infrastructure-based equipment to improve traffic flow and protect pedestrians, managing and mining crash data to devise data-driven solutions for communities, or working to understand how inequity in mobility contributes to poverty in our state, or helping older drivers understand when it's time for them to give up the keys. We're really working with a variety of constituencies to address real-world mobility challenges here. We are, after all, a state institution, and as a native Michigander, I personally feel compelled to aid our state in talent production, retention, and support of our economy. But not all mobility-related jobs require four-year degrees. So we've been working now for more than 10 years with Washtenaw Community College, for example. And they're one of our core members of a federally funded center on connected and automated transportation. Lots of associate's degrees that are going to be required in the mobility industry. We've launched an online interdisciplinary credential called Foundations of Mobility. That credential covers a broad range of mobility-related materials, such as equity, safety, environmental issues, data-driven decision-making, urban planning, and law, just to name a few. And this really offers existing workers in the mobility industry the opportunity to better understand the interconnectivity of their work with the broader mobility landscape. Locally, we're enhancing the connected vehicle environment with our partners, City of Ann Arbor. We've deployed and are evaluating automated pedestrian detection at crosswalks that can either trigger rapid flashing beacons or send wireless messages to connected vehicles. We're also studying the complexities of two-lane roundabouts, including pedestrian and bicycle traffic there. And, trying to understand what leads to crashes and how to prevent them from occurring. And then lastly, we'll be making significant enhancements to our connected environment here in Ann Arbor through infrastructure-based sensing and wireless communication capabilities to improve traffic flow and protect all road users. With that, I'd like to introduce a friend and colleague, Dr. Shi from Wayne State University, where he is the director of the Connected and Autonomous Driving Lab. Dr. Shi.
Thank you very much, Jim. It's my great pleasure to be here. I join my colleagues from other universities and Michigan stakeholders to share with you about the mobility activities happening at the Wayne State. I think from the beginning, when we started working on this mobility, we are very industry and community oriented. So in the next few minutes, I would like to share with you, our activities in the research, talent preparation, and the community-driven mobility solutions from the three perspectives. So on the research side, so from the basic research, so Wayne State is pretty strong in terms of the edge computing for connected autonomous driving and energy efficiency, looking not just on this computer system point of view, but also from the battery and etc. And also we are very heavily involved in the real-time and embedded system. So I'm very happy to report that in terms of real-time and embedded system, so Wayne State is ranked top 10. I think right now it's number 8, even nationwide. So given this, that we're highly related to the basic research that we are kind of offered to the state. But in addition to that, we are very lean, to the industry collaboration. So funded by the National Science Foundation, led by myself, right now we are in the process of forming a industrial university cooperative research center on electrical, connected, and autonomous technology for mobility. So if this is being funded, this will be the first IUCRC center nationwide And we are very glad it's will be hosted in the state of Michigan. So another thing is we're talking about the talent preparation. In terms of, at the beginning of that, about a decade ago, so Wayne State is the first in the nation to start in this vehicle and electrical vehicle engineering, funded by the Department of Energy. And then through this 10 years, so we have offered a variety of these programs in addition to the electrification, but also on the mobilities. The first is we looking for how do we boost the current employees who are working in this region. So instead of asking them to completely come back to the university, we sort of partner with a MICHauto, Ann Arbor-based AI company. So we offer this 13 professional 6-week short courses ranging from AI to the electrification, battery technology, autonomous driving, and etc. So that we have been starting the last year and it's pretty well received. So you have that 6-week, you're working with synchronous online. We also provide the instructor, give you the question and answers. So if you feel like this is not enough, to boost your knowledge, and then we also offer a 4 courses graduate certificate program in both mobility and electrification, EVs. And that will be most likely is you already have a program, but then you add 4 more courses so you can get yourself, to learn what's the latest things in this field. And then in addition to that, Board of Governors in Wayne State approved the MS in robotics with a special track on smart mobility last fall. And within 1 year, we already have about 20 students enrolled in this specific track. We view this as a great effort to help to generate the talent for the state of Michigan. So the last thing I want to touch is about the community-driven mobility solutions. From the beginning of that, we deeply believe that mobility is not just a technology engineering aspect. Actually, like Jim mentioned, is also a huge societal impact here. So with that, about 18 months ago, so we launched the Wayne State Wayne Mobility Initiative. So we have about 60 faculty members across 8 colleges within the Wayne State. We putting together, looking for what kind of solutions we can provide to the communities. So with that, we also launched the Mobility for All computation, so that the students and the faculty can work in together with our community leaders to using our technology to address the urgent community needs. So right now, I'm very happy to report that it's already go to the last phase. We have selected 5 teams winning in the last phase. Hopefully by November, we will officially make the announcement who are the grand winners for this Mobility for All computation. So with that, thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to share with you this wonderful activities. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Dr. Shi, and to our panelists. As you've heard, the 3 URC universities are critical to Michigan's mobility industry and to maintaining the state's role as a global leader. Working closely with the state as it invests in the future of mobility means greater impacts for the industry and our state. We're really excited that Governor Gretchen Whitmer created the Office of Future Mobility and Electrification within the Michigan Economic Development Corporation. State leaders know how important the mobility industry currently is and will be in creating more high-tech, good-paying jobs in Michigan. That's why the office is working hard to spur innovations and relationships in the mobility industry. So to tell us more about what the Office of Future Mobility and Electrification, or OFME, is doing, as well as provide a preview of the governor's announcement in Flint this morning on the first round of Michigan Mobility Funding Platform grants, I'd now like to turn it over to the OFME's Managing Director, Catherine Snorrison.
Thanks so much, Brittany. The Office of Future Mobility and Electrification was created, like Brittany said, to work across state governments. So that, of course, includes MEDC, LEO, EGLE, and MDOT. In addition to that, also academia, private industry to boost Michigan's mobility ecosystem. So whether that means, for us developing mobility and electrification policies or supporting the startup and scale up of emerging technologies and businesses right here in Michigan. So one of the advantages our state has is the fact that the 3 URC universities that we heard today attract hundreds of millions of dollars in federal and industry funding to support mobility-related research and development. And that's money that would go to other states without the efforts of these 3 major research universities. We also know that they're developing the students who will graduate and provide the talent necessary to meet the changing demands of the mobility sector. And a large number of the graduates from these universities, the URC universities, already work in the mobility sector and are providing leadership in existing companies, or they're creating their own companies, which is great to see here in the state. So to support the testing and development efforts of these companies that they're creating or supporting here in the state, our office launched a grant program. Like Brittany said, the grant program is called the Michigan Mobility Funding Platform, and the platform supports both real world and test site deployments to alleviate mobility barriers and help accelerate electric vehicle adoption in Michigan. And it's great to see, one of those test sites that's included is M-City at the University of Michigan. It's just one of the many test sites across the state. And Governor Whitmer is actually announcing the first round of grant recipients right now at Kettering University in Flint, Michigan. These 5 grant recipients are launching mobility solutions that span across 3 focus areas. So their solutions focus on sustainable futures, which for us, is focused on improving environmental sustainability by encouraging electric vehicle adoption and the build out of the electric vehicle charging infrastructure. Their deployments also focus on equitable futures, so alleviating mobility barriers and increasing access to affordable and reliable transportation options. And the third focus area is multimodal transportation, so modernizing existing transportation systems and keeping Michigan at the forefront across all connected and autonomous transportation modes. Our vision for the state is to build a stronger state economy through safer, more equitable, and environmentally conscious transportation for all Michigan residents. And we're only able to accomplish that vision by leveraging the strength of our universities. And that includes the critical role the universities play on our Council for Future Mobility and Electrification. So alongside private sector players, GM, Ford, Stellantis, Toyota, Waymo, and Rivian, and public sector leaders from state departments and the legislature. It's clear that the research talent and leadership that emerges from our URC universities ensures Michigan remains a global leader in mobility and electrification. Back to you, Brittany.
Somebody had to do it. It was me. Thank you, Catherine. Appreciate it. I want to thank all of our researchers and industry partners for being with us today. Glenn Stevens from MICHauto. We really like working with MICHauto. Satish Udpa, Jim Sayer, Waisong Shi, and of course, Catherine Snorrison. We're proud. All the great things happening in our universities to be working in alignment with the state. Again, couple top level factoids. I can't leave without saying, so our mobility report does show that our 3 universities, Michigan State, U of M, and Wayne State are turning out 46% of Michigan's graduates with high demand degrees needed by the mobility industry, which is also, our total is more than any of our peer university innovation clusters, 14,824 annually. They're also conducting more than $500 million in mobility-related research and development each year. And I also want to note that right now we are in a big time to be talking about mobility. A lot of things going on. Motorbella is next week, and that includes automobility, which is the 21st and 22nd. And for the first time, all 3 URC universities will be sharing an exhibit space together. Some of our panelists here will also join the Lieutenant Governor on Wednesday morning on the automobility stage to talk more about the details of what the universities are doing. And so I just wanted to make you aware of that. We will now open to any questions. Please use the Q&A function or put a question in the chat. A recording of this news conference will be made available after we end today, and we will send out a press release shortly, and it will include a link to the recording of today's press conference. I don't see any questions just yet. We'll give media just a couple of moments to put in their questions. If there are no questions, then we'll conclude. Okay, again, thank you everyone for attending. Much appreciated. Exciting work going on at the URC universities and with our partners, MICHauto and the Office of Future Mobility and Electrification. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.